This week on football, with the end of the season just around the corner, I'll be going through the three best players from each of the Premier League and the EFL divisions.
It's Goalpost TV, where the weirdos run free. From John Parkins, Bob the Penis, Pence FC. Roy Hodgson swore at Alex's poor mom, and a giant flat baby's been hitting the rum.
Hello everybody, welcome to This Week on Football. It is me, Alex. Thank you so much for joining me once again. We've got a great show lined up. I've got my weekend treble at the end of the show where I win you money. Stay tuned for that. I've got my day one fantasy team and your day one fantasy teams to go through. I have got my team of the week as well. That is back. But first, I'm going to ask you quickly to go over to @AlexGoalposts on TikTok. You'll find me and all the best bits over there. And you'll find me on Instagram now as well, @AlexGoalposts. We're nearly at the 10k mark, by the way. I'm having a big push trying to get to that 10,000 follower mark over on TikTok. It's where we start actually getting paid for this channel. So please help me. Please go over there. I am begging you. Please, 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 please. We have got, like I said, a fun-filled show lined up. But first, let's get into that little thing that I wanted to do about, look, the season's nearly finished and it's gone so quick, but I think it's time just before the end of the season to highlight some of the best players in every league. If you're not someone who's an avid watcher of the lower leagues, like myself, then maybe you can take note of some players to watch out for the future seasons. Obviously the Premier League as well. Let's start off with League Two. It's a difficult division to keep track of because the thing is with League Two, you have to specifically go out your way to go and watch a game, and you have to pick that game over any of the better games that are happening, the Premier League games, even the European games as well. But from the players that I've seen and taken note of this season, my top three. In third, Nathan Lowe. He got 22 games for Walsall before he got recalled back to Stoke this season. But for those 22 games, he scored 15 goals and 5 assists. He's 19. He was 18 coming into the season. What a season it's been for him. It's unfortunate that that momentum was kind of stifled and he returned back. But for what he did and what he did for Walsall, pushing them up, looked like an unassailable lead for Walsall this season, and somehow they've thrown it away. But I think that does coincide with someone with the quality of Nathan Lowe. Losing him has been massive for Walsall, so really unfortunate. But for the half a season he was there, unbelievable, unplayable, that division. Second, Michael Cheek. He's the top goal scorer in the league this season, 22 goals, and he's actually chipped in with 7 assists as well. He's made the step up at 33 years old, playing with Bromley last season in the National League, and he stepped up and done it again. He's probably going to outscore his last season in the National League. We saw it with Paul Mullen do the similar sort of thing where he dropped down with Wrexham, scored all those goals with Wrexham, came up to League Two and did it again. Michael Cheek's done it, and like I said, at the grand age of 33 years old, he's made the step up, and I think he's been brilliant. Like I said, again, top goal scorer in League Two. It's hard to miss him out. Number one for me, I think, has been the best player, and the player probably I've seen the most of is Luke Molineux at Doncaster. Luke Molineux this season has scored 16 goals and assisted 13 times. This is a guy who is probably one of the most impactful players in the division. He's taken Doncaster right to the very top of the table. Looks like they're going to get automatic promotion at the very least. And yeah, super creative player, a player that has got that bit of quality, maybe a little bit above League Two, and he'll be playing in League One next season, and well deserved. League One players. Third, I put in Louis Barry, another player that played half a season, but for that half a season, 23 games for Louis Barry, just 21 years old. Obviously, he's been about a bit. He's gone to Barcelona, he's returned, he's gone on loan to Stockport, and when he was at Stockport, 15 goals, 3 assists, and he was the outstanding player in that division. For all the money that Birmingham spent and other teams have got great players, great quality, dropping down from the Championship, he was a player who was just stood out alone. He was the real quality, a player that I think a lot of people have tipped to one day play in the Premier League. There's every chance that Villa do use him in the future as well. Number two, I think this player he's probably got the highest potential in the division. It's Kwame Poku for Peterborough. Every single time I've seen this guy play, he lights up the game. He's super attacking, super aggressive, wants to take players on. And for a player, again, you expect your wingers these days to get goals. He has scored a bag full of goals. He's got 20 goals and assists, so 20 goal contributions in the division this season. And yeah, it looks like a step above a lot of other players in there. Number one, I think, has been the best player and probably the player tipped to go and get a big move probably in the summer is Richard Coney. Richard Coney, it's only his second full season as a professional footballer, and he's managed to get himself 18 goals. 21 years old, loads of potential for him. And I think, look, for me, Wycombe have been one of the better teams in the league, and their position shows it. But when you've got a player who's bagging goals like he has done, Coney has done this season, it's massive. And yeah, talking about impact for a team pushing for promotion, Richard Coney's done everything he needs to do. Let's go to the Championship. In third, I've gone with Dan James. I think Dan James has been tipped to be the player of the season this season, with Leeds doing so well and obviously getting promoted this weekend. I think Dan James is a match winner this season, and I think that's a big difference for him. He's a obviously everyone knows his pace, but he's got Premier League pace, and that has been a difference maker for Leeds this season. For a team in the Championship, a lot of teams, there's some really good players, but maybe the physicality isn't there. Dan James just rips teams apart, and for a player, again, he's got Premier League experience, but he's got international experience. He's scored, he's assisted this season. His quality is there. He's not just a pace merchant. He has got goals, he has got assists, he's creative as well. I think he's been really good this season. For me, not the best, but I think he's up there. In number 2, I've gone with Finn Azaz. Middlesbrough signed him a couple of seasons ago, and what a signing it's been. He took a bit of a while to settle into that Middlesbrough side, but now he's one of their most important players. He's this season got 12 goals and 11 assists. Finn Azaz obviously playing now on the international stage with Ireland. He's a player with a lot of potential, and I think he's got a lot of quality. I think for a lot of players in the Championship, I want to see a player. I don't want to see pace. I don't want to see I don't want to see goal output. I want to see a player who's technical, who's creative, and Finn Azaz does that. And he's, for a player to get 12 goals, 11 assists from the position he plays is fantastic. Number 1 for me, the best player in the Championship this season. I think he's standing alone in this debate, but Josh Brownhill. I cannot believe Josh Brownhill's turnaround in goals this season from a player playing in midfield. He's got 16 goals and 5 assists, by the way, but 16 goals. He's a match winner. And I can't believe I'm saying it about Josh Brownhill. I say that, I can, because I was there when he was at Bristol City, and I remember watching a game. I went to watch it with my friends, and he scored the winner with one of the most delightful touches and finishes in the last minute. And from that moment, I kind of kept tabs on him. He went to the Premier League with Burnley. He played well. He maybe didn't get the goals and the things that he's doing this season, but it's a step up this season. Josh Brownhill's been unbelievable, and he's also part of a Burnley side that maybe have got the greatest defensive record in Championship history. I'm pretty sure it's going to go down as one of those records, because they've been unbelievable under Scott Parker, and Josh Brownhill's been their talisman this season to score those goals for a Burnley side that maybe doesn't score as many goals as the rest of the teams in the division, but defensively unbelievable. I said it and I got absolutely slated for it halfway through the season that Burnley are the best side in the Championship because they're set up the best way to get promoted. People were saying I was talking rubbish. Leeds fans were going at me, but that Burnley side have done exactly what you need to do to get promoted into the Premier League. They've nailed it. They're there the next season. We'll see whether they can hold it and stay in the division next season. It's going to be a big ask, but Josh Brownhill's been a step above everyone, I think. And then Premier League. I think there's obvious answers here, so I'll go from top. Mo Salah's been the best player in the Premier League this season. I think with Mo Salah, everyone knows his quality, and it kind of gets... It doesn't really get the attention it deserves until this season, and all of a sudden now he's the best player in the world, apparently. I think he has been the best player in the Premier League this season, and the goals and assists are outrageous. Is it the greatest Premier League season of all time? It's hard to say yes, because we came from an era, a lot of us, where we watched Thierry Henry, where we watched Cristiano Ronaldo, and even a little bit more recently, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, with Luis Suarez. I think the numbers obviously will go down as the greatest in Premier League history. and he's winning the league with Liverpool. It's really hard to debate it, but there's just this inner feeling that it just isn't him. He hasn't had the best Premier League season of all time. I just go back to those Ronaldo days, those Thierry Henry days, when numbers weren't the kind of be-all and end-all, when they were just match winners, quality. There was something different. There was a spark. And don't get me wrong, Mo Salah has all of that, but there was something different about Ronaldo and Henry in previous seasons. Number 2, Alexander Isak. I think he's been the best striker in the league this season. He's gone on again since last season, and I don't know if anyone really thought he had another gear, but he does, and he has been absolutely unbelievable. The third one I've put in here, and the player I want to mention, I think the most, Morgan Rogers. I think Morgan Rogers, do you know what? I love Morgan Rogers so much. I love this guy because he makes me fall in love with football again. The amount of robotic teams in the Premier League and around the world at the moment, it just feels like the game's dying. And then you watch a player like Morgan Rogers do what he's done this season, do what he's done last season as well. He's kind of had his breakthrough season and then this season kicked on again. I love seeing him pick the ball up deep. One of my favourite things about Morgan Rogers is actually in a deeper position when he picks the ball up really deep, because obviously Villa play out from the back. They play quite possession football, but then they turn and get on the attack. John McGinn turns really well. Yuri Tielemans with those little intricate passes. But Morgan Rogers, wherever you give him the ball, he picks it, he runs, he drives with it, and he scores, and he assists, and he's creative. He does absolutely everything you need a player like that to do. He reminds me of a young Wayne Rooney. It's a joy to watch. It makes me fall in love with football again. It makes me want to watch Villa, and Villa have got some real quality all over the pitch, but Morgan Rogers is just a dream. Love it, absolutely love it. And yeah, I think he deserves a mention. I think he has been the third best player in the league this season. Let's do my team of the week, the part of the show where I tell you all of my favourite players from the week, the ones that I've watched live for 90 minutes, not the ones that I've just seen on Match of the Day. In goal, Matt Sells. His save percentage, interestingly, has gone up by such a jump. It's absolutely huge. I don't know whether this is down to maybe Forest defence being super resolute and blocking a lot of shots and making a lot of the shots easier for Matt Sells, but when he's called upon, he's there. He makes big saves as well. His save percentage this season is 75.5%, which is massive, absolutely massive. He's had 13 clean sheets. I think that's joint highest, or maybe even the highest in the Premier League this season. Yeah, an all-round top goalkeeper. I was talking last week about who I would maybe replace Andre Onana with at Man United. And I was thinking, all these Premier League goalkeepers are really solid these days. I was thinking of Matt Sells. I was thinking of Mark Flecken at Brentford. I was thinking of all these goalkeepers that are maybe in that mid-table range that are all better than Onana, that are all safer, that all do the things that Onana should be doing, and also can kick and distribute, which Onana was bought for. But yeah, Matt Sells, unbelievable once again. I think he'll be in the team of the season this season. Right back, I've gone for Trent. All the talk around Trent, and then comes on and scores the winner, and pretty much is the final nail in the coffin for Liverpool winning the Premier League. And I use the coffin analogy because it feels like death to me. Centre back, I've gone with Harry Maguire. What are we going to do with Harry Maguire? How do we look at Harry Maguire at the end of his career? Is it a successful career? Because for what he's had to go through, for the criticism that he's had to put up with, for the hate that he's had, and then he's still going, getting stripped of the captaincy, having an £80 million move, which is all in all failed. But I'm telling you now, he's worth every single penny of the £80 million that Man United paid for, just for that moment, that winner late on in a Europa League game. I know it sounds ridiculous, and that's how far we've fallen, but Harry Maguire, against all odds, always stands up. And yeah, he's a credit to himself, because what a personality he has been. And yeah, he's done it for England, done it in the biggest games as well, and helped England get a long way in tournaments. I think he's probably an underrated player, and he's probably a player that has been a victim of previous systems where he's being asked to defend really high with high lines. That's not the sort of player he is. When he's defending deep, he's brilliant in the air. And when he plays up front, he scores, and that's absolutely mad. And then alongside him, I've gone for Virgil van Dijk. Don't really need to say much about Van Dijk. He's a colossus and an unbelievable centre-back. he's going to win another Premier League title, and well deserved. I think you could probably say that he's definitely in the conversation with the greatest centre halves the Premier League's ever seen. Whether he's there, I don't think he's better than Terry, but winning titles and being a big part of that, which he has been, scoring goals and defending the way he does and giving Liverpool that kind of that solidity, I think you got to put him up there, haven't you? Left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly. I can't with this guy. I can't understand the hate. I can't understand the criticism, and I don't understand why someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly isn't someone that everybody can enjoy. I know he doesn't play for your team, but why can't you why can't you appreciate a young player coming through with the confidence levels that he does and the ability that he's got? Watch him drive with the ball. It's ridiculous for a left back. I know he's a midfielder, probably by trade, but again, that speaks to his versatility. That's the fact that he can sit back and play in a left-back position or midfield and still be a top performer for Arsenal and do it in a massive game. Like those two games against Madrid in a Champions League quarter-final. And he was brilliant and he was composed and he defended really well. He had Rodrigo silent for both fixtures. I can't understand the hate around him. I cannot understand what it is. We should be loving this guy up, particularly if you're an Englishman, right? If you're an England fan, you should be talking about Miles Lewis-Skelly like he's the next big thing. You should be loving him up like the Arsenal fans do. I don't understand the hate. It's probably because he plays for Arsenal, but yeah, got to give him some respect, definitely. And I actually think he's probably been the breakout player this season. I think a lot of the time, most seasons you see a breakout player and usually it's a striker or a forward-thinking player. I think from left back, he's been a revelation. Central midfield, John McGinn. I love John McGinn. Everybody loves John McGinn. And all of a sudden, I think everyone appreciates John McGinn in the same way that the Villa fans do and obviously the Scottish fans do. He's just, what a personality. What a great guy he seems like and what a great footballer he is. Give him the ball anywhere. He'll protect it. He'll drive with it. He'll run with it. He's defensive. He's dogged. He's an all-round great footballer and a player that probably in years gone by we would have really appreciated. These days, everything's about numbers, stats and everything. He's one of those players that maybe he's not going to get loads of goals. Not going to get loads of assists, but it's the work that he does off the ball. It's the work that he does in the build-up as well is fantastic. He gets Villa out of a lot of tight situations. And I think, he's been brilliant this season. I would even say, has he got a shout to be in the team of the season in the Premier League this season? I think he's got a good shout. Someone who I think is definitely going to be in there in midfield is Declan Rice. Declan Rice is moves second now into the Ballon d'Or list. You know, a lot of people have been saying, and I've seen it all over social media, that 2 free kicks all of a sudden gets you a place in the Ballon d'Or rankings and gets you into the shortlist. No. 2 free kicks in a massive fixture in a Champions League tie against Real Madrid to take your team to a semi-final on top of all the performances you've given this season. That's what gets you there. It's not just a reactionary thing that Declan Rice is up there on the Ballon d'Or list. It's that he's been brilliant. And if Arsenal win the Champions League, half of it's down to him. And if Arsenal had competed for the Premier League, I don't think he's been poor this season. I think he's been brilliant in the Premier League. His best performances obviously have come in the Champions League, but they've come in the biggest games. He's a player with so much quality. It's outrageous the technique that he's got, and he said it himself. He should be scoring more goals, taking more free kicks, taking that responsibility on himself. He's delivered in big moments this season. So yeah, fair play Declan Rice. I think he's one of the only players that you can probably say was worth a giant price tag. It's very rare these £100 million plus players are successful, but Declan Rice for me is definitely one of them. Finishing off is Kobbie Mainoo. I think Kobbie is a player that goes. I feel like he's been forgotten about, and it's weird because it's a player that Man United need to build around. We need to find a position that suits him really well, and then start picking players around him. I think he's that good. I think he's an unbelievable technician with the ball. He's a finisher. You know, he's a striker coming through when he was younger, and I think. Yeah, for Kobbie, it's confidence, and he's got bags of it, but he just needs to get a run of games. He's been out injured. Obviously, that's gonna stunt your progress. But when he comes in, I mean, he's just such a lovely footballer. And Man United really lack a lot of players that are really good and technical on the ball. And I think maybe his best performances come from deeper, maybe in a 6. But when he gets forward, he can score a goal, he can make an assist, he can pass the ball and produce a bit of quality that makes a difference in a game. That goal that he scored against Lyon, the composure, we've seen it against Wolves, we've seen it previously, but the way he just touches it, and you almost know when it's Cobby, it's going in the back of the net in that position, bending round and beating the goalkeeper. He's a magic player, and yeah, I love him. I absolutely love him. Right wing, Bukayo Saka. I think Bukayo Saka announced himself on the world stage finally in that game against Real Madrid. It's all right to do it in the Premier League. It's all right sometimes to do it in international games against some smaller teams. But when you do it in a knockout tie in the Champions League, and really, he's playing against his direct opposition. If you want to ask who are the best wingers in the world, you look at Rodrigo, you look at Vinicius Jr., and I think he absolutely tore Real Madrid apart, and he made them two look average. And I think Bukayo Saka, yes, he missed the penalty, but 20, 30 minutes later, he pops up and dinks one over Courtois. That's a big game player. That's a personality. And he's got quality, but that's personality. And I want to see that from Saka. I think Saka is one of the most underrated players because he's never considered in the conversation of being world class. He is world class. I've been saying it for 2 years. I've been absolutely banging that drum. And I think finally people around the world, particularly people that don't maybe watch the Premier League, you're now looking at Saka and going, do you know what? He's that bracket where I think he's the best right winger in the world, possibly. Him, Salah, Rodrigo. I think there's a really good debate around it. Left wing, here's someone different. Jesus Rodriguez. I've not seen any of this guy. He's 19 years old, plays for Betis on the wing, and obviously Betis get, most attention goes to Antony since he's moved there. But Jesus Rodriguez is a player I can see playing at a really, really high level. He's very technical, keeps the ball, doesn't give it away. He's dangerous, looks attacking. And I think with players these days, you need someone who's very neat and tidy on the ball, even from a winger. Most wingers in the past have been one of those players, you give them the ball, they'll run, maybe 3 or 4 times a game, they'll get past a right back or a left back. Nowadays, you're asking them to be really technical and hold the ball up. They almost have to be strikers and score goals, but also hold the ball up. He's brilliant at that. I couldn't believe what I was watching. When I was watching him, I was like, who is this guy? And I thought, I'll give him a couple more touches. And then a couple more times, he was just taking the ball round players and knocking it off. He's a name to look out for, definitely. And then striker, finishing off that team, Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins' head must be on Mars. He's just had to deal with fighting for a place with John Duran. John Duran gets a move to Saudi Arabia, and then Marcus Rashford comes in and nicks his position. And also, Marcus Rashford is not a striker. Unai Emery is obviously playing him in a position that he feels comfortable playing him, and he doesn't feel comfortable playing on that left wing, which is Marcus Rashford's best position, which says a lot about Marcus Rashford. But maybe we already knew that maybe he's not going to get back and defend in the same way Jacob Ramsey might or Morgan Rogers when he plays left wing. So he's now nicked Ollie Watkins' position, and Ollie Watkins played at the weekend with anger. You could see he's frustrated. He's gutted not to be starting those games against PSG. He felt like he could make a difference, and I think Ollie Watkins is one of those players. Maybe he's underrated. Maybe he's underrated because for what he does, you look at Chris Wood this season scoring 18 plus goals. Ollie Watkins is capable of that on his worst times. When we look at strikers in the Premier League, their best seasons are sort of 14, 15 goals. Ollie Watkins' worst season is sort of 14, 15 goals. He's a player that has absolutely everything. Super two-footed, can finish with his left foot, can finish with his right foot, but he's really, really dangerous in the air. He's very, very competent in the air, can score a header as well. Brilliant all-round. Love his pressing. Absolutely love him in terms of holding the ball up as well. His head must be on Mars because he must be thinking, what do I need to do to start under Unai Emery? Because it doesn't feel like Unai Emery is completely convinced Ollie Watkins is his striker for the future, which is a shame because this is a guy who is being touted to get a big move away, and now he can't get into the Villa side. We'll see. If Marcus Rashford stays at Villa, I think for Ollie Watkins, his best move is move to Arsenal. Go somewhere else and be the focal point and be the main man getting goals, because he'll get goals wherever he goes. Right, let's do the worst thing ever and do the day one fantasy teams. It's great if you're doing well, and it's become a really, really tight race at the top. My team is shocking. It's honestly terrible. And even with Marcus Rashford starting and scoring now, it's still terrible. Liam's day one team, Liam Edgar, has been leading the race all season. And now it's down to 10 points. I haven't checked because the City game has just finished, and then the Palace Arsenal game is to come when probably you're watching this or listening to this. But it looks like Joe's team is going to nick it. I don't know. It's going to be tight. I don't know who's going to win, but it looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race. That said, Brandon's team is eating up the points, and I mean, it's going to be tight. Even Brandon's only 30-something points off. This is going to go right down to the wire. And thank you for everyone contributing this season and getting involved. And hopefully you'll tell your friends and do it next season, because there is a prize for the winner at the end of the season. And you can show me how much more you know about football than I do when you finish about 15 places higher than I do. It's not going to happen again next season. Next season I'll win it. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal season from Liam. But Joe looks like he might edge it, and it is fascinating. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out at the end of the season. Let's do my weekend treble. Guys, we have had a nightmare. We are on a really bad losing streak, but we're still £43 up for the season, which is actually really, really good. The idea was that we were going to make profit at the end of the season. You back my bet every week with whatever you want to do. I've been doing it with £10 and we're £43 in profit. £43.74 to be exact. This week's selections: first selection, Wolves versus Leicester over 1.5 goals. I've gone second selection, Newcastle versus Ipswich over 2.5 goals. And third selection, final selection, is Brighton versus West Ham, both teams to score. £10 on gets you £28 and 25 back. And hopefully we get back to winning ways. I've only won 2 in the last 7. 2 in the last 7. That's tough. That's really tough. And it's knocked our kitty down quite a lot. But I will be back to winning ways. Stick with me this season. I will be back next week, next Wednesday, and every Wednesday until the end of the season. Thank you once again for listening. Have a great week.
It's Goalpost TV.